Okay, wonderful. And thank you, Alex, for kicking off this webinar for us. This is our second webinar with Leader this week, and today's topic is UniFi Physical Security. My name is Jamie. I'm presenting this topic to you actually live here from Denver, where we're currently presenting at a smart home expo. And at this expo, we have a pretty large booth space, and we've actually shown off a couple of our new products, including some new products in the UniFi physical security space. So we haven't formally announced any of those products yet. You might hear me talk about them in the demos we have planned at the end of this. I might even actually show a couple of those, but let's just stay tuned. And yeah, I want to thank everybody for your participation. Feel free to write questions here on the call. During the call, we have some Ubiquiti team members that may be able to help us with those. If not, we will definitely have some question and answer at the end of the call today. So to get started, I just want to briefly reintroduce the current components of the UniFi physical security system. As you know, UniFi Protect and UniFi Access are the two separate applications that are managed under the same cloud gateway or cloud console devices. So you basically just need one of these cloud gateway devices to run these applications, manage the hardware, and basically configure these devices with any permissions or specific settings. Obviously, the devices are not unlike our other managed devices. They require PoE power to um, uh, enable and run. And so you just need a PoE switch basically and access hubs. These access hubs are usually paired one-to-one with each door. We do have another special version that has kind of 8 of these access hubs in one that you can kind of centrally locate. But in general, you can kind of look at this as the physical security group of devices. Readers and credentials, that's another category here. We make these readers that you can introduce a number of different access methods to open doors, and the credentials themselves. These can be like NFC cards, even your smartphone with the UniFi Identity or UniFi Access apps, as well as of course camera security. So whenever you think physical security, definitely fair to think of camera surveillance. So to review here, the architecture that UniFi relies on to provide a secure physical security deployment is kind of broken up into 3 major categories, arguably 4 that I'll mention as well after. But to start, the site manager is, of course, the one-stop shop where you can remotely manage and monitor all of your customer sites. Typically, you'll have one cloud gateway or console device. You can think of a console device as any Ubiquiti hardware that's running the UniFi applications, protect and access, network, connect, talk. And the cloud gateway is a special type of console that also has the firewall and routing features all built in. So it's a all-in-one, very powerful device. And the Protect and Access software are tightly integrated in these unified consoles. There's intelligent, software. When we describe the software, there's things like integrations between the software platforms, the hardware themselves, being able to do things like pair cameras to doors, um, assign cameras to users, assign um, door access readers to uh, users, give them policy groups so that they're able to open specific doors at specific times of day. And the other component to this architecture, which I'll actually get into in some of the demos that I've planned at the end of this webinar today, are the unified identity software, which is our approach to secure endpoints, allowing users to, hybrid work from home, come to the customer site, and use different resources. One-click VPN, one-click Wi-Fi. But in the physical security space, that also means assigning cameras, assigning doors to these users as well, and giving them secure credentials that only they can use. So full stack UniFi is again a term we've begun using to refer to the UniFi experience when you're using these cloud gateways, as they feature all of the UniFi applications, network for access points, and protect for cameras, access for door access, etc. You can see here the dashboards for protect and access. Of course, the dashboard screens are where we present the most important uh, features, and being able to see very quickly. You're an administrator and you might need to monitor in real time or unlock doors in real time. And we recently updated in the latest UniFi Access version 2 um, interface the ability to just do much, much more of the important stuff right here with less clicks, adding things like the emergency mode as well, being able to lock down doors in a building, or unlock all the doors in the building at just the palm of your hand in one click. And being able to do this also on our mobile apps is super important to us. We know that often these customer sites are managed by a singular IT manager that's maybe well versed in one or two of the areas, but um, the mobile apps make the experience really great. So to compare and contrast, and also help you understand why the cloud gateway is such an important device in the unified physical security experience, uh, you're often doing things like adding firewalls and limiting access from the outside world. And so if you're able to just rely on a single device for entry and exit of your traffic, you can have that peace of mind that, hey, this single device, when you pitch it to the customers, is capable of doing everything. Maybe today you guys are installing hotspots, APs. They're only looking for a couple of cameras, but down the road, this becomes an important investment into the customer infrastructure as they add more and more um, uh, devices to be managed. Of course, the UniFi identity software we'll look at a little bit later. This is incredibly important, and you can see uh, when we zoom in here a little bit, one-click VPN, assigning a camera. You as the user, you open this up and you see all of the devices and permissions that have been added to you. Basically, the only requirement to run UniFi Access Identity Endpoints software is having a physical UniFi console device, which includes NVRs, cloud keys, which run all the applications, or the cloud gateways themselves. So I mentioned and talked greatly at length in our first webinar this week about the cloud gateways. I'll just briefly touch here again that the cloud gateways that are in the best position to sit on the customer site for physical security are the Pro Max, the Pro SE, and the Pro, as well as the Dreamwall, because these run all of the UniFi applications, Protect, Access as well as the Ultra Max. This is our latest cloud gateway device, which is kind of the small form factor, the compactness of the UCG Ultra, but with NVMe storage that you can yourself expand in order to store and keep video recordings on your customer site. When we talk about video recordings, it's also really important to remember that calling these cloud gateways, none of these recordings are being stored on any clouds. These are simply devices that link up to the UniFi Site Manager for very easy remote access, and of course, secure retention of your video and playback. That's all handled locally on your hard disks that you're having on your customer sites. So the cloud consoles are also plug and play devices. At our conferences and our training courses, we have students set these up in 30 seconds just using their phones. That's another really great reason to pick these UniFi cloud consoles, not spend time, managing ports and figuring out what kinds of firewall you need to disable on your Windows PC or your Linux box. No, instead we give you this easy to use hardware. The NVR Pro is our currently the highest end dedicated security appliance for storing uh, UniFi Protect videos, recordings, detection events. Uh, NVR, of course, is going to give you just 4 hard drive bays. Our Cloud Key Gen 2 Plus has been around for several years now and supports all the applications. But you can see that the threshold of cameras increases with these NVR devices tremendously with higher memory on the largest one. And I'll just briefly mention, since we're glad to have you guys here on the call, we do have a new NVR appliance that is going to be available very soon. It's one that we are showing at the conference we're at this week. It's going to be called our Enterprise NVR products. It will have 16 hard drive bays and also, of course, run the Protect and Access applications. And as true to the name, Enterprise, you can expect to be running hundreds of cameras on this device. So it should be very powerful for some of the more robust, more involved, higher camera threshold sites. So now getting into some of the specific devices that are being managed by your cloud consoles, our NVRs, our cloud gateway devices. Like I said before, in order to secure the doors on your customer site, you have these access hubs, which have a series of input relays and output relays, which allow you to do things like trigger, request to exit buttons on one side, and on the other side, a dry relay that's sending a current in order to open up a lock. The most simple version of this access hub actually combines the reader function and has 4 of these terminals on the back. So these are going to be really great for more low cost or price sensitive customers that just need something very simple to combine the cost of the actual hub itself and the reader. Our standard and enterprise models have been around the longest. We recently added the hub gate. This is going to have quite a few more inputs for gate access. So think about like parking lots at commercial sites or office buildings that need to have controlled access and exit for not only visiting employees, but also visitors on site. So people who are making deliveries. That's an important uh, access hub as well. And this is available in a starter kit currently. The gate access starter kit, as I mentioned, it comes complete with intercom unit. I'll talk a little bit more about this in just a minute, but it also includes these 2 wire converters for converting some of the older legacy deployments where they don't have Ethernet cabling on site, and you can turn that into a PoE ready deployment. The Access Reader Ultra, as I mentioned, is targeting some of the price sensitive customers that maybe just have like a simple door that is housing some secure items, and you can unlock this pretty easily with the NFC card or the UniFi Identity mobile app. I'll actually get into all the different ways that you can manage and unlock these reader devices in a coming slide in just a little bit. But before I get there, I kind of want to go over all the different types of readers and compare and contrast them. As we mentioned, the UniFi Access Ultra is combining the hub feature. Has the lock terminal on there as well. It's got an input relay for if somebody wants to request to exit button, and then also unlock the lock itself, 12 volt, 1 amp current. We also have a G1, G2, and G2 Reader Pro. The G2 Reader Pro kind of has all the bells and whistles, supports all the unlock methods, including using the software apps, as I mentioned on the previous slide, near field communication, so readers, cards, mobile app, hand waving, so motion can also trigger opening in less secure or less uh, environments where they're not as concerned with security, but just need to have something convenient to open. QR codes as well for like visitors that you just want to temporarily share a QR code for a day. Keypad pin as well, being able to assign keypad pins, and we'll get into that in the demo in just a little bit, as well as facial recognition. This is something that will be getting added pretty soon. I think it might also be already available in early access if you're already subscribed um, and you can see that in the early access community. So these readers, they have weatherproof IP54 or IP55 ratings. The intercom unit IP65 weatherproofing, as well as a number of different mounts to protect this from being in the sun. This is, you can imagine, right out in the sun, out next to a gate terminal. The intercom viewer is an important unit as well. What this does is it allows you to pair intercoms with intercom viewers so that receptionists or people at the site who are essentially buzzing or letting in whoever's ringing from the intercom using a directory to communicate with people, they can unlock the gate for them and let them in, or the door itself. I mentioned the Access Intercom on the previous slide. We have a pretty cool demo that we've been doing at this conference. I'm sure we'll probably be adding some videos to our YouTube page as well that will be showing some of these products in action. But again, this intercom unit needs to connect to a UniFi Access hub. One of the questions we get often is, hey, can I just have this standalone connect to my switch? But actually, the UniFi Access hubs, they have that PoE switch on them because essentially what's happening is these access hubs, they actually store some of the credentials locally in case they temporarily lose access to the cloud gateway. Maybe there's a power outage. Maybe there's a loss of network connectivity. For whatever reason, we understand, and our access teams, when they were putting together these products, knew that the system can't fail in case of temporary network disconnectivity. So those access hubs, true to their name, they are hub devices. They have a small amount of storage to keep local credentials so that users can still be using these devices. But the requirement here is that the intercom, as well as readers, be directly connected to the hubs themselves, and not to the switch, which then connects to another hop down to the hub. I mentioned the intercom viewer as well. This is paired with those intercoms. Perfect for visitor screening, being able to see who's at the intercom, buzz them in. We also make several different door locks, magnetic locks, and electric locks. These are for different door compatibility scenarios. Encourage you guys to take a look at those as well. The starter kits I mentioned are our easy way to bundle together basically everything that you need to get a single door set up in the form of the G2 starter kit. This is going to just include a simple reader. Doesn't have any of the camera functions. It doesn't have the doorbell function. Doesn't have the touchpad. It's just simple. Introduce an NFC card. We include some of those as well that we package. But of course, it also has support for our mobile apps as well. The G2 Starter Kit Pro, this one's also going to include a couple of our fob keys too. These are pretty cool, and we use these at our demo booths as well. But this one also includes not only a G2 reader, maybe for like door exit, but also a G2 Reader Pro. The other two starter kits we have are the Gate Access Starter Kit. Everything you need basically to get a motorized gate in place. Number of different gates that we support here. swinging gates, double wide gates. The elevator starter kit as well allows for authorized entry up to 18 floors and includes everything that you'd need, as well as those two-wire PoE extenders for converting existing wiring on site to something that you can pass data now over the lines. So that pretty much wraps it up for UniFi Access. I will be doing a quick kind of walkthrough of the Access application, but before that, I do want to talk about Protect application. The reason being they are, fundamentally side by side in nature, and so knowing all about the hardware that's available there before we get into the software, I think is important. So anybody that's used our software understands that the hardware is very easy to adopt and manage once it's on the same local network. So your video recorder device, this is our NVR device or our cloud gateway. We also make a device called a viewport. This viewport is allowing you to basically convert any HDMI compatible display with our camera streaming. So you can have up to 16 cameras uh, uh, simultaneously streaming to a HDMI output source, and using that viewport, you adopt it the same way you adopt cameras, and can create your own matrices. You can have, here it looks like there's two large camera views, and then on the bottom you've got 4x4, 4x9 as well. So you can get kind of creative about how you want these live views created and rotating. So think of the viewport as a great device for any any location, maybe a security guard that does not need access to any computer or any interfaces and really just needs to keep an eye monitoring on the cameras. But yeah, just looking at like a TV or something. So all in all, the main benefit of UniFi Protect as compared to some of the other vendors out there is that what you're getting is secure, private, local storage with ultra low latency playback and monitoring that can be remotely managed and monitored from anywhere using the site manager, which creates that end-to-end connection between the client, remote clients, and the console itself. Taking a look at all of our different camera form factors, we basically have a camera. We check all the boxes for the types of cameras people typically look for in the surveillance space. You can see as well that we have started to introduce black versions of these cameras as well in locations where they're a little sensitive to the colors and want to keep it very discreet, especially at night where maybe people are unable to see the cameras, and so it minimizes chances for vandals causing damage. But you've got your bullets. These are typically your go-to for outdoor when you need to have a decent amount of field of view. Your domes, these are great for like having vandal resistance with the uh, tamper resistant shell housing the actual camera lens. You've also got the PTZ. This is our latest camera, very, very popular now. People really love it when they come to our shows and like to talk about it. And people are always surprised at how small it is compared to what our previous PTZ camera was. And it's one of our more innovative products. On another slide, I'll look at all the different mounting options for this. One of the other things I want to bring up here, because I'm sure there'll be a couple of questions about it, we always get it at the shows, is these doorbells we make. They also come in a startup kit with a doorbell chime. And in larger homes or homes that have maybe people wanting to hear these chimes and other parts of the house, you might often have several different chimes to that feature is coming in the I believe it's in the version 5 of UniFi Protect. So look for that very soon to be able to pair multiple chimes to a single doorbell. Obviously, our Flex uses the name Flex because it has, like the PTZ, many different ways to flexibly mount this. Um, we have Wi-Fi camera as well. This is called our G4 Instant camera. These are really great. Probably one of our smallest cameras before you get into the actual true discrete AI theta cameras that we make, and pairs very, very easily with our UniFi APs. Another benefit for selecting UniFi as the go-to, because you've got the network, you've got the Protect, you've got all of the applications seamlessly integrating the solutions together and making adoption real breeze. The turrets are also another product that we recently came out with around the time that we announced those new Ultra domes, the Ultra turrets, kind of also targeting more price conscious markets. But when I say price conscious, I don't think you guys should assume immediately, okay, lower quality. In fact, we do a lot of tests, and I don't think in this webinar I'll be showing any of those, but in our upcoming training course, we'll be showing, side by side some of the comparable cameras out there that other vendors have, and the image quality is just simply fantastic on these devices. Pretty much all of our cameras have incredible image quality. It shows in scenarios where you really do push the limits of the camera itself in high contrast environments where you've got a lot of sunlight next to high amount of shade. And so having the HDR um, uh, contrast functions, it really shines in those scenarios as well. The final two camera form factors I want to mention are DSLR, or for very, very high image quality um, telescope uh, ability, with the looking something like the bullet form factor in that type of scenario. You're also going to have 360 and fisheye um, with AI capabilities. So a number of these cameras, they'll be marketed as AI cameras. The final thing I want to just mention about here is any camera that has the name AI in it is doing something a little bit more special than what all of our cameras do, which is called smart detections, being able to categorize people, um, animals, vehicles, sounds. Was that a baby? Was that glass shattering? That's something that all of our cameras support, but the AI cameras are doing what is essentially AI analytics, uh, offloading that from the NVR, doing that directly on the camera, so that when the data is sent to the NVR, it's already ready to be processed, and we can do a lot more things like facial recognition, license plate detection already on the camera itself. So the G5 PTZ, it's PTZ meaning point tilt zoom. Our mobile apps here are really great. It's a very, very responsive unit. Anybody that's used the mobile app to actually point, tilt, and zoom, it also supports things like auto tracking. So when people walk by at a customer site, and you just want these kind of patrolling, making sure that people feel like they're being watched. That's one of the great features of these PTZs, but very low latency when you're using these software apps to move the movement, panning, tilting, zooming. And you can also create these presets, so it will follow an actual trail if you want to kind of have this recurring motion of the PTZ. So all the information about these products is available on store.ui.com. Here are the different mounting accessories. As I mentioned, we have quite a few for the PTZ that make it just super versatile. A little bit more discreet when you do the in-ceiling mount where it's truly recessed. But poles, walls, corners, pendants, ceilings. It's truly one of our most versatile, innovative products, and just high camera hardware build. The turret and the dome I mentioned are two of our also newest products. The turret differentiates itself a little bit from the dome in that it also records audio with integrated microphone. And these also have pretty versatile mounting options. The dome itself is really one of the smaller cameras out there, on the market. It's a really tiny device with just an ultra wide viewing angle. And of course, these cameras all have great night vision up to 20 meters, around 60 feet distance. There's another product we've been showing at these shows, the AI Pro Enhancer. What this does is this extends the effective range of the IR to have a longer distance of detections, including integrated radar to improve that detection accuracy for people and vehicles, especially in night scenarios. It's got a built-in floodlight as well. It has a high performance loudspeaker on it as well, which kind of makes it a real surveillance device that can be actively used to kind of deter criminals if there are admins on site that are able to just intervene and start speaking to somebody to tell them to get away from the doors or wherever they're surveilling, doing surveillance. So here's a quick matrix of our cameras. We will be sharing a slide deck with you guys after, so you can kind of have this to review after. But again, all this information is available on store.ui.com as well as techspecs.ui.com. So I do want to now kind of move into some demos and introduce to you guys now Vantage Point. This has been around for a couple months now, but what this is a deviation from what we formerly talked about, which is called NVR stacking. NVR stacking was a way for you to essentially combine multiple NVRs together, but it was kind of like a hardware solution that we ultimately decided to move into a soft solution, which is Vantage Point. And Vantage Point is advantageous because it allows you to kind of on the software side, on the front end, just combine all of these NVRs as if it was a seamless single NVR that you're looking at. So I'm going to hop into my site manager real quick. And you can see here at the top of the page, Vantage Point appears. If I come now to, I'll just actually open up unifi.ui.com for the first time and click on Vantage Point. And the first time you click on it, it takes just a few seconds to set up the Vantage Point, and it will give you a list of all the NVRs you currently have attached to that Vantage Point. I believe the current limitation right now is five NVRs that can be combined under a single Vantage Point interface. So this is really great for multiple site organizations that need to have security officials or personnel monitoring multiple different sites, but all from under a common interface. And this is, working great today. Here's where you would come to, change it up if you want to start adding some other NVRs here. You can still do a few things here, like see which of the devices are currently managed under your Vantage Point. You can do things like playback as well, look at kind of detections, all the most important features that people basically are using the NVR for today. That's all supported under Vantage Point as well as detections as well, and recognition. So I'm going to get into this in just a minute because I have a few more slides that I want to go through. So one of the features that has been pretty much with us since day one is the ability to create motion as well as privacy zones. And this essentially allows you to tell your cameras or tell your NVR when you should start recording. And if you have a high sensitivity detection zone, then the probability that that camera will then start detecting and the NVR will start recording will be high. You can pretty easily adjust this. Privacy zones are basically areas where if motion is detected, you do not want to start recording. We also support a feature called line crossing. This is something that a lot of people look for when it comes to counting the number of like individuals or people that enter a storefront or are crossing streets. So you can do some very important basic features with the UniFi Protect software. And another thing I also want to introduce here is our next AI. This is something that's going to be continually added more and more capabilities, detection, classification, recognition, search capabilities, fast making ultimately video retrieval and finding the clips of data, not sifting through hours and hours and hours, but rather just getting right to what you need you, by harvesting and leveraging our AI tools. So this is going to be something that will continue to grow in importance as we go forward. Very exciting time for the UniFi Protect products. But now getting into the facial recognition territory, when you come into the UniFi Protect application, you click on the faces area, you can actually start to begin to, it will automatically start building a library of all the faces that have been detected historically on the NVR itself. So you can see here I've got around 2,000 people that have been detected at some time or another. And you go through this library and you can start identifying these users so that you can create some very interesting triggers that I'll also get into in just a minute. But you can see we create what's called a person of interest. This is essentially like a profile you create for these facial recognition individuals that the AI cameras, as I mentioned earlier, these AI cameras are able to detect. And you add a name, you can add descriptions as well, and then create what's called the person of interest so that notifications can go out to admins as soon as that person of interest gets detected on site. And there's a lot of things we can do there. I'll get into a quick little demo in just a minute, but I also want to go through the license plate recognition feature. Again, AI equipped UniFi Protect hardware. Today we're talking cameras, processes and tags those recordings. It sends the metadata for easy sorting. So when you need to go look up, depending on what country you're in, there be different license plates, but they're all essentially going to have a string of characters, numbers, letters in order to find and identify a particular uh, vehicle. And so we also have added the feature called vehicle of interest. Works very much the same way as the person of interest. You can create these profiles so that whenever historically a vehicle has been coming and going onto a site, you can start getting those notifications pushed out to your admins. So the next sequence to discuss here is the alarm manager. And the alarm manager is one of our most recent updates. I believe we discussed this in our last newsletter. And I'll actually go into the software now and give you guys a quick little preview of that. Here I'm looking at one of my NVR appliances, and I'll go to the bottom left-hand corner. As long as you're on the latest software version, you're going to see this alarm manager in there. And essentially what this allows you to do is, by default, you can apply alarms, create these alarms and triggers for all of the cameras on your site, or you can create it for just individual cameras. So for the meantime, I'll just actually go ahead and create a quick little alarm. It's actually a live site, so I'm probably not going to save this trigger, but I could call this one like person of interest alarm. And what is my definition? You have to do basically two things for creating alarms. You do the trigger as well as the action. So what is triggering the alarm? And you come up with this custom definition. Maybe it's a series of like detections. Maybe there was some motion that was detected, or a video detection of a person, a vehicle, an animal, a package even. And you can create any number of alarms. So don't feel like you have to add all these detections into one alarm. You can create as many alarms as you want here. Recognition with faces. Let's say I want to add to my definition only known faces. I want to get a trigger for, and as well when like the doorbell rings. Okay, so there's a number of different things that you can begin to add to your definitions to cause the trigger. You can also specify a specific schedule when you want that to happen. And the actions are pretty cool as well. You send by default notifications to all the admins or some of the admins on your site. You can edit who those receivers are. You can also create custom content as well, like person of interest or vehicle of interest was detected, so that you're not getting just this generic notification, but one that you've created. Other actions that you can create include webhooks. Right now, we have current integrations with like Slack for internal workspaces, as well as custom webhooks for people who've got their own integration. You can do things like uh, HTML, Git, post, add header. The sky is really the limit here with these actions, and we'll be expanding on this as well going forward. So once you're done with that, you just add those. You can add as many number of actions as you want as well for these alarms. And these were working very, very well earlier today. We had about all of our admins on the site at the booth today. We're getting lots of these alarms. So I'm going to come back to the uh, presentation once again and give you guys another quick look at just a few things just to wrap up. Um, we're at this conference and many people have been coming by the booth and telling us their story. But in general, most people, they come to UniFi for a number of different reasons, and they settle with us because, again, we're not in the business of trying to gouge people and nickel and dime people for everything. We're very anti-licensing. We want people to have, we want to democratize technology. We want it to be in the hands of installers, in the hands of end users. And yeah, there's no hidden fees there. So as I think you guys were able to see, a lot of intelligent alerts have been added, some very detailed analytics in there as well. There's so many things you can do, and really all you need to do is just pick up a cloud gateway for yourselves. Once you get one of those cloud gateways, you've really unlocked and got yourself the UniFi full suite or full stack of applications. The full stack experience is in your hands. And I encourage everybody to take advantage of that. If you haven't picked up a cloud gateway today, definitely check out the UniFi Cloud Gateway Max or our Dream Machines, which support all of the applications. In our previous webinar, we went over a couple of resources, and this is where I spent most of the time on the demos. I'll just really briefly mention to you guys again, or go ahead and take a screenshot. These are great resources for you to bookmark, and you're constantly referencing these from time to time in your day-to-day workday and your Ubiquiti UniFi journey.